Thank you for staying tuned. It's 10 minutes past 10 in the city of Abuja, and it's time for Insight on Citizen FM 93.7. My name is Lawrence Umotte. The polity is still trying to reset itself, if you may, from the results and fallout of Saturday's governorship and state assembly election. Reactions have come in torrents from the highly emotional and sometimes sentimental to the aggressive and some would say highly passionate. It's been almost 4 days of vetting of anger, maybe frustration for the losers. And we should not also forget to say excitement for the winners. But on Insight today, we continue with our election fallout series. Our guest today was in the Saturday's election. Although he's a gatekeeper in his own right in the media industry by virtue of his position, but on Saturday he returns to the trenches for the election. My guest is Amadine Uyi, who is the bureau chief for News Central and also is the head of Northern Operations. Amadine, thank you for this opportunity on Insight.
Thank you very much, Lawrence.
Yes, you can be part of this program on the internet by joining our live stream on YouTube. You can simply type in Citizen FM 93.7. You can also listen to us online on www.citizenfm.ng. And you can also follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. So that's how it's going to be. We're continuing with the review of Saturday's election. A lot have been coming up, and as they come up, we also need to deal with them. My guest, once again, is Amadine Uyi, who is the bureau chief of News Central. He is also the head of Northern Operations. Amadine, on Saturday, I saw that you were the take-off event, and of all places, Rivers State. Before we even come to your specific experience in Rivers State, generally, how did the election go? Let's have a brief overview from you.
Okay, Lawrence, first of all, if you want to quantify the election on a general basis, it will be very wrong because they were governorship elections. It will be the right way to quantify it is to assess it and appraise it on a state-by-state level. Because there were some states that there were absolutely no hitches. There were other states that there were minor hitches. And there were some states that there were major hitches. So that is why it will be fair. Let's take, for instance, Lagos State. We saw the drama that played in Lagos State. In fact, the election had degenerated into an ethnic affair in Lagos State. There was a lot of violence, a lot of voter suppression. And then you cannot compare Lagos State to a state like Edo, where these things were not common, or a state like Nasarawa, where these things were virtually non-existent. So to get up and say the election was, if you want to quantify it, sometimes it would be very, very wrong to use the areas where there were incidences to judge them, because the person who was in Lafayette, who voted without any hitches, and he hears you saying that the election fell below standard or there were incidences, that person will be looking at you and wondering, is this the same election I participated in? That's why I said that it would not be right to use the same yardstick to measure the elections in each of the states.
Amadine, you are right, but I also know that sometimes when we take a holistic look at elections, we look at the substantial evidence of violence across the country vis-a-vis other parts of the country, and then you draw conclusion whether it's enough for you to say the election was violence or for you to say the election was free. But then that's, I guess, is a story for another day. Let's move on to Rivers State. I know that you were at the thick of events in Rivers State, and I even saw a post on Twitter where you had a brush with the military operatives in Rivers State. Let's start from that. In terms of security officials, government officials respecting the rules of engagement, especially when it has to do with journalists. And from my experience with you, this is not the first time, but what was your experience like in Rivers State?
I think it was a very unsavory experience because I think I've covered elections in other states. I was in Edo, I was in Ekiti, I was in Osun, and at a point in time, when I had a session with INEC, I even began to ask them, what did you tell security operatives this time? What was the kind of message that was passed? But you see, my experience in Rivers State was, like I said, very, very unsavory. It was needless. It was just the military trying to show that they were not willing and they are not open to obeying the law. I was going about my normal duties with my full accreditation, wearing my accreditation tag, wearing my ID card. And you see these soldiers jump down from the truck and started running towards me. Why are you videoing us? Why are you videoing us? I told them I'm accredited journalist. I'm a journalist. Look out at all. They said, no, why are you videoing us? Why are you videoing us? And they walked up to me that, why are you videoing? I said, I'm sorry. I am here to do my job. And my part of my job is to get videos of everything that is happening. You are part of the process. So there's no way I will see you and hide my phone that I was not going to video, because I was sending videos from my phone immediately. As I video, I would send to the office so that they were updating viewers on the station what was going on. And as it was coming, about 2 others were running with him, and he said, no. In fact, I'm seizing your phone. And I said, no, you are not seizing my phone. And he tried to collect my phone. I refused to give him. And 3 of them tried to, it was a struggle. They tried to, I told them, I said, at the same time, I said, can you not see my accreditation? I'm not giving you my phone. This is my working tool. And they said, no, they don't care that they are seizing the phone. That why will I video that? I said, but I've told you, I am doing my work. You don't expect me as a journalist not to video. I see you and run under the table because you are wearing military fatigues. I'm not committing any crime. And as they began trying to rough handle me, a superior officer now came, told them to stop and asked them. I told them to stop and told me that, do I know that it is wrong to video military personnel? I said, I'm sorry, I don't know of any law like that. And he looked at me, I said, yes, there's no law like that. That should not video military personnel. Besides, this is an election. I'm not coming to your checkpoint to video you. I am videoing the streets, videoing events that is going on. He now said, okay, that can he see my ID card? I raised it, my accreditation. I raised it and showed him. Can he see my ID card? I showed him. He said, but he wants to tell me that I'm trying to argue, but it is wrong to video them, that I should delete the video from my phone. I said, I'm very sorry, I'm not going to delete that video. The content belongs to my office.
Okay.
And we went just back and forth until a much more superior officer now came in and told them that they should leave me. They can see my accreditation and the rest. And they left. But there was one thing I told them. I said, you don't expect me to travel all the way from Abuja to Port Harcourt to the riverine area to cover the elections, and you collect my working tool. Then you have rendered me useless throughout the whole day. It was not a summary. I'm just trying to paraphrase the events. This went on for about 15 minutes. And in fact, everybody around had run away because they were in masks with guns, in military fatigues, and others. So it was very, very unfortunate.
Oh, all right. Well, Ahmadine, I'm really sorry about that. But you know, in our job, they say it's a journalist that is alive. That is a journalist. That was a big risk you took. I saw that video, and I know how you can be sometimes. Well, I won't say that, but sometimes. When you see armed men like that, really, really have to be careful, even when you're within your rights, because it's only the living that will give testimony. In 2012, my reporters had a rough patch with military men in Akwa Ibom State. 2011 election, and they escaped by just the skin of. It was a close shave. So sometimes I know that it comes with the territory. These are things that journalists see on the film. But let's get back to the election in Rivers State. Ahmadine, a lot of stories came out in Rivers State, but you were an active player, so to speak, an eyewitness of what was happening. Could you just take us through how did the election go?
The election in Rivers State was, I think, is one of the worst I had covered in the last how many days. In the last how many days, one of the worst I had covered. Let me explain why. Was there election? There was election. Surprisingly, there were less cases of violence like in previous years. You know, Rivers State election is always characterized by violence. Surprisingly, there were less cases of violence. But the surprising thing was, yes, people came out to cast their votes, but at the time of collation, that was where a lot of agents alleged that drama started. And as they tried to make their decision known to the INEC officials, INEC officials were not ready to listen to them. They were not ready to listen to any of them. So that was the problem, because you now had a situation where agents said that yes, there has been an election. So supposedly there's supposed to be collation first at the unit level. It was successful. The results were uploaded to the IRF portal. Then the result sheets were taken to the ward level and then collated again in front of the agents to confirm that it was the same results from the unit level. That was successful. But when it got to the local government level, which is before the state collation, that was where the drama started, because a lot of the local government chairmen, they were part of the process and they belonged to a particular party. So most of those local governments, they did not allow the agents of other party into the local government collation center. Those who try to find their way to use security to pick you up and arrest you on one false and fictitious charge. So it was only the INEC officials and the local government and the party which perpetrated that in question. So at the local government level, and the INEC officials had to do their bidding. A lot of results were changed. So when it came to the state collation center, where the results were being announced, the agents refused that most of those results were not the results that were obtained during voting. That besides voter suppression, there were so many places where ballot papers were snatched, and they saw results. There were places where ballot papers did not arrive, but there were results. Then there were some results that were being announced by the INEC electoral officer, which was different from the results at the IRF portal. So this was the drama we witnessed. And from the time the first local government was announced, which was Thai local government, to the time the last local government was being announced, which is Abuja West, the agents kept on complaining, kept on calling the electoral officer to end the process. But the electoral officer stood his ground that he was not going to end the process, that he did not have the capacity. at a point, the agents were hearing other states that collation has been cancelled or collation has been suspended. Why is Rivers different? So that was what we witnessed while we were there. That's why I said it was a very unsavory. It was not a commendable experience. It was one that people, journalists and others, Nigerians would not hope to see during collation of results. I think, from my own opinion, that INEC electoral officer needs to be called by Abuja to explain what happened in Rivers State, because they still went on. Yeah, the INEC electoral officer kept on telling them, submit your evidence and submit to INEC. But the agents told him, we are telling you of widespread irregularities. We are telling you that you are announcing results that are not the same on the IREF portal. And you are telling us to submit our evidence. And at the end, you tell us to go to court, which is a totally cumbersome process. So for me, that's why I said that from the beginning, that I would like to take the cases, cases on a state-by-state basis, based on the ones I know, because this incident that happened in Rivers State was not widespread across the country. We had correspondents who were in other states where voting took place, everything went on smoothly, the agents were not in, it was a jolly scenario inside the collation center. So that's why I said that I would not like to use just one state to describe that was what happened across the length and breadth of the country.
Okay, Amadine, it does look, at least from my interaction with our colleagues across the country, it does look that like the picture you painted in Rivers State was also replicated in a few other states. It might not be all, because you find out that it looks as if the political parties, the big parties, were playing virtually the same game. Where they are on ground, they suppress voters. Where they are on ground, they manipulate the system. Where they are on ground, they do things in their favor. But where they are not on ground and they are outsmarted, they cry and they shout. It looks like that. If you look from Lagos to even Akwa Ibom to some past states in the east, all these allegations are also there that the dominant political parties always try to outmuscle others.
No, what you are saying is the perfect truth. That's why I tried not to mention a particular political party as I was speaking. What that scenario was what played out in the presidential elections and now in the state. The states where a party is dominant, they use their strength, power of incumbency, relationship with security agencies to try to outsmart, to ensure that it played in their favor. Though this did not happen in all. Because when you go to states like Zamfara, where you had an incumbent governor winning, go to Kano, where you had a sitting governor losing his state, in as much as he was not coming back, but he had all the structures. We know that there are some states that, yes, that things were a bit fair, and to a certain level, voters had their way. But in some other states, it was not to be. A lot of, and you see what we are talking about is that every party is complicit. That's why I tell supporters when they begin to cry foul, before you cry foul, go and check what happened in the areas where your so-called party is dominant and see their character and their behavior. And there's sometimes you even be ashamed to talk that you were cheated or you were a victim. But it calls for awareness to tell all Nigerians that the Divas and the IREF tried their best, but still the politicians still have smarted the Electoral Commission. It is high time maybe we should start preparing to go fully into electronic voting, where you can vote from your house or vote from your office, and then you are not obliged or compelled. You don't have to interact with security agencies and security officials. For people like us, we only wear their policing and are getting results. So I think we should start making plans for this kind of future for Nigerian elections.
Okay, Ahmadine, let's look at a few things that maybe happened before the election. I'm sure some of the political parties will be doing a lot of introspection now. What went wrong? What could we have done? Could it have been done differently? And one of them would certainly be the PDP. I'm sure the PDP will really need to take a look at a lot of things they did. One of the fallout before the election was this long drawn battle between the leadership of the party and the G5 governors. Now, looking after the elections now, do you think the gamble, so to speak, or the position of the G5 governors paid off? Who were the losers? Who were the winners?
I think in all, when you look at the PDP as a whole, the party was the loser. Why? I'll tell you why. Remember that the PDP was the main opposition party before the 2023 general elections. But when you have politicians who are hell-bent on not obeying their rules, whether written or convention, you find out that they fall into problems. That was why even after the fallout of the G5 governors, the party leadership could not muster the courage to discipline the G5 governors or to sanction them. Because clearly, we all know that in Nigerian politics, it was the PDP that introduced a 10 for the north, it moves to the south. A 10 for the south, 1 or 2 10 for the south, it moves to the north. So you spend 8 years in the north, it goes to the south. It was the PDP that introduced it into our polity. And because the PDP had been in power for so long, they were in power for 60 years, other parties came to accept it as a norm because it brought a sense of fairness. In as much as when you are in the south, you have 2 major regions. Though there are 3, you have the southwest and the southeast. They are the 2 major regions. When I mean major, not because of what they bring to the table, but for the fact that they have been very vocal and always in the limelight. The southeast felt it was time for them to take the shot. So being very loyal to the PDP, you would have expected the PDP would have pushed it to the south so that the southeast, the south-south, and the southwest would slug it out. But you had a candidate in the PDP who wanted to be president despite the fact that the North had just spent 8 years on the saddle. So those who were aggrieved said no, this was not. That was the bet of the G5, where you have 4 governors from the south and 1 from the north central. They came together that they were not going to support the party's candidate, that they will do everything they can to see that he does not get that ticket. Because though some other issues came up on the resignation of the party chairman for his southern, those issues later came on when they were looking for a solution. But whatever it is, the PDP, the APC, we had 2 major parties. The APC lost about 2 states or about 3 states to the emerging party. That was Lagos, Nasarawa, and I'm talking about the presidential elections now.
Okay.
And Plateau. But the PDP lost the entire southeastern state, and that had been their most loyal voting bloc. They lost it to the Labour Party. Then there were key states the PDP had in the south, south, which was Rivers, Delta, and Edo. Those states had been staunch PDP states. Rivers and Delta would always align along PDP. Then Edo is always divided, but the part of Edo that always votes for the opposition, which is the Edo South area, the Benin area, they have the population. So whoever they support wins. And then you see Labour also clinched their support. So you see Labour State taking almost 8 states from the PDP. Then you now had the APC losing, like I said, about 3 states. So you see in all, imagine if the PDP had gotten these 8 states. With all they did, the APC could still win them with only about 2 million votes. Imagine if they had gotten these 8 states that was taken by Labour. Therefore, we would have been talking that the PDP vote, combined PDP vote, would have been 12 million, now winning the ruling APC party by almost 4 million or so. So that's why I said that the PDP is the biggest loser. They have to go back, sit down, and take a stock of what exactly had happened, and then think of how they can go forward. If not, we'll see Labour being the main opposition party, and then PDP being the third force for a party that held power for 60 years. Okay. That would be very unfortunate.
All right, Amadi, we need to take a short break. Insight will return in a moment. I've been speaking with Amadi Nhuyi, who is the bureau chief of News Central, and we've been reviewing the governorship and state assembly election. We will be back after the short break. Please don't go away.
Investigations, special reports, analysis, and breaking news. Premium Times, a leading multimedia news platform, brings to you every minute stories that helps you make informed decisions and hold public officials, individuals, and organizations accountable. We have cartoons, videos, podcasts, and other interesting content for your delight. For timely update on politics, entertainment, sport, and business, visit our website on www.premiumtimesng.com and follow us on all our social media platforms. Don't miss out. Investigations, special reports, analysis, and breaking news. Premium Times, a leading multimedia news platform, brings to you every minute stories that helps you make informed decisions and hold public officials, individuals, and organizations accountable. We have cartoons, videos, podcasts, and other interesting content for your delight. For timely update on politics, entertainment, sport, and business, visit our website on www.premiumtimesng.com and follow us on all our social media platforms. Don't miss out.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Super Citizen at Sunset on Citizen FM 93.7. This is the fun-packed radio show you heard about. Did you miss any one of our programming today? Join me, Diddy, from the Citizen Pot when we run through our programs from sunrise. Stay abreast, get informed on news roundup. It even gets better. Do you think you know Nigeria? Answer 3 questions correctly and be one of our daily winners on quizzes. It is the full package. Let's take you back, way back on African Vibes. Let's celebrate the African people, the rich cultures across borders, the languages, the good food, and wealth of excellence on African Vibes. Join me every Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. It is on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja.
Omundem no munam oge ndị Igbo na-abịaziri unu ụbọchị Satọde na ụbọchị Sọnde na wetaka n'elekere nke 4 oge ndị Igbo bụ oge anyị ji anọrị oge gị na-ekene ezepụ na-eji akpọrịkọta ụbụbọ kabarụ na-esonyela anyị nke a bụ nke anyị ụmụnne m daalụnụ.
Celebrating our cultural pride is our core essence. Let's bring people together through communication as we say we would. Join us on Melting Pot every Monday Tuesday and Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. as we meet elders from our different ethnic groups in Nigeria and bring you closer to your roots. Live on Citizen FM 93.7 Abuja. Melting pot. Don't miss it.
Eunanda ni bila kane reni. Ile di kunyala na kwa bani bila babesaka ineta Abuja ana the Citizen FM 93.7. Era so metete ene ya ni bila va se no seve ini radio ononi. Eku yo ni va se no seve ini ya bani bila saka obi eku ijimo eku Saturday ateku yo se eku e tononi agugo himpoluva ava se men. Wa bani bila do ye ineta Abuja ezo wa ya kene ake wale jire nuwo do aka esana na inoku down ni. Ibila kane re ume ovi oniva se kale ni ya bani bila saka de kada wona geten abon.
I say get out of my house. How we no get out? It go hard in you. If you make a 10 slap on me, something go scatter in the Wakane ye ram shingam ni kaye oro duela mi duega ataviwe.
Angbanev de yeren kwayan shingam pagachi do emi sit my miongo hin ate utiv sha itioki Citizen FM 93.7 radio kashin owan Angbanev kwa ngwan kwa ma shehene kwa chi ama chotom ihemion danza ahwa aha ate utichi kati wase sha itioki Citizen FM ate utichi tichi.
Hi, my name is Rita Ezenwa Okoro, the founder and lead visionary of Street Project Foundation. Join the Street Project Foundation ambassadors Fridays, 8:30 a.m. on Citizen FM 93.7. We will be addressing key social issues such as xenophobia, police brutality, religious intolerance, youth profiling, insecurity, and other social issues in our radio drama series titled Umotte, This is Real Life. Remember, Fridays, 8:30 a.m. on Citizen FM 93.7.
93.7 Citizen FM.
Let's talk about it on our favorite radio station.
We're more than just a radio station. We are a part of your life.
Thank you so much for standing by. You're still in sight on Citizen FM 93. So my name is Lawrence Umotte, and my guest, Amadine Uyi, who is the bureau chief of New Central, is also standing by. Amadine, thank you for holding on.
Thank you.
Okay, the lines are open now. The phone lines, that is, are open now. Call us on 0903 2229797. Or you can also call us on 0818 2222205. Or you can call us on 0818 2222206. Any of these numbers, let's talk. If you have any question for Amadine Uyi, and also you can send us a WhatsApp message in case you don't want to call. But if you want to call, the numbers are there. Let's have. And also, you can also listen to us online if you want from any part of the world. www.citizenfm.ng. And our social media platforms are also there for you to interact with us. On Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, and also on Twitter at Citizen FM 937. Any of these numbers, let's talk. There are a lot to talk about. Amadine, now let's look at some other issues that you were speaking about, how the PDP was fragmented and it gave rise to the third force. Now, we all saw the Peter Obi effect, some would call it, during the presidential election. What happened? This looked like as if the Peter Obi effect simply disappeared during the governorship election. If you look at the statistics, Peter Obi had over 6 million votes in the presidential election, but Labour Party could barely muster about 600,000 votes across the country during the governorship election.
I think this was owing to the fact that politics, like the statement has always said, politics is local. Because a lot of people who did not participate in the presidential elections, a lot of them felt there was a need for them to participate in the state elections. And so because of that, so many people came out to vote. Okay, let's look at, for instance, let's look at Lagos State. The APC scored about 500 and something thousand in the presidential election. But when it came to the state election, they were able to muster over 700,000 votes. The same across many other states where, in as much as the presidential election, a lot of people did not participate. In the other election, in the state election, many of them saw the need to come out and exercise their franchise. So these were the kind of issues we saw, that these were the kind of things we saw that it will make you know that. But that was why the Labour Party, yes, a lot of them thought, remember that also the euphoria around the Labour Party was built on this presidential candidate. And the state elections were elections that was an election that he was not even participating, was not even going to participate. So to be able to convince people to give their all, to come out and vote, I am sure when you saddle it with the voter suppression, voter intimidation and violence in some states, a lot of their supporters felt there is no need. We wanted Peter Obi to win. He didn't win for whatever reason. So I'm not just going to waste my time. So that was exactly what happened.
All right, Ahmadine, yesterday the PDP and the Labour Party officially filed their petitions before the tribunal. And I know that you've covered presidential petitions over the years. And we all know how elaborate, so to speak, how tiring sometimes, how protracted it can be. And I'm sure you saw the prayers of both parties and everything. What do you make of all those things generally? Because I'm not expecting you to speak to the request, since this is already before the tribunal, but generally speaking.
First of all, what they are seeking is a tall order. Why do I say so? It's not easy for Supreme Court. It has never happened to turn a presidential election.
But that doesn't mean it can happen.
Yes, it can happen, but mostly the court, what they do is addition and subtraction. If you're able to prove that there was no vote in so and so place or results, they subtract those results. That's how it has always been. But I don't want to dampen the hope of their supporters, just like you said. It's already in the court. It will depend on the ingenuity of their their lawyers, and how they can convince the Supreme Court justice that they have the case. But from my own point of view as an individual and as a journalist, I don't think much can be achieved.
Okay, Ahmadi, yesterday the president-elect, talking about the former Lagos State Governor Bola Ahmed Tinubu, comments what a lot of people have called the healing process, and he reached out to Nigerians saying that elections are over, we need to move around. How easy of a task do you think this is going to be for the president-elect?
At least he has done what he's supposed to do, because right now, the election caused a lot of ethnic and religious division. That is what is expected of a statesman, to reach out to everybody. Because, like people say, last, we're all in the same Nigeria. And I can tell you that irrespective of whatever side of the divide Nigerians voted, everybody wanted a better country. Everybody felt they were voting a candidate that would take us to where we desire to be. So after the election, I don't think it is needful. In democracy and in democracy, election is a contest. There must be a winner, there must be a loser. I think I really told the line of where the president-elect is heading to, which is calling for healing and calling on Nigerians to move the nation forward. Yes, you might not be able to convince everybody, because they have a right to express their grievances. They have a right to say they are upset. But why you get upset, always also remember that the big picture is the better Nigeria. Voting for a candidate is not personal. It is because everybody desires a better country. So I think it is high time the opposition put their house in order to form a formidable opposition that can guide, constructively criticize, and cause those who are in power to know that there is a formidable team just behind their shoulders. So they have to perform. I think that is the way to go. But like I said, people still have the right to determine whether though is right or though is wrong. This is my position.
All right, thank you so much, Amadi Nuyi, for your interventions on Insight. It's really been enlightening and refreshing getting to hear your views. We really appreciate this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Well, that's our package on Insight. Today, our guest has been Amadine Uyi, a bureau chief for News Central, and he's also the head of Northern Operations. We were looking at the governorship election and the state assembly's election held across the country last Saturday. Insight will return tomorrow for another edition. My name is Lawrence Umotte. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Investigation